Hey everyone, Alex Gordon here. No, it's not a trick of the light. You are looking at two Stormtrooper blasters here. These are the New Hope variant E-11 blasters. I believe both of these are accurate to what Luke carried on the Death Star. The Han one, I believe, had the smaller scope that was used on the Empire Strikes Back DL-44. It's a little bit shorter than this, but otherwise looks pretty much the same. So most people don't know the difference. Between the two of these, I can't even try and tell you how many hours were spent, but I'm going to go ahead and start from the back and work my way forward on both of them. This one's a little bit more snug. It's just the way it came. Separate these. Recharge ports, SD cards, batteries. Yeah, you can see that. There's so many wires in each one of these, I can't even describe, how much of a wiring nightmare it is. This one was worse because this one has a screen button, bar graph all on the counter. This one just has the bar graph and an extra speaker in the counter. There wasn't sufficient room for me to put a second speaker in this one the way I would have liked to. In this one, since there was no screen, there was plenty of room for me to do one the way that I liked to, with a nice little resonance cavity. So I went ahead and did it on this one since it made sense. Aux buttons are here in the grip. Select fire is here. Triggers are functioning. The mags actually, well, since mine's in sleep mode, when you pull the mag out, that's the sound it makes when you put it back. It loads your ammo, and I'll go ahead and show you that again just so you can see. When you have the screen, the gun falls asleep after a certain amount of time. Both of them have ray progression that's color changing, as well as color changing LEDs in the barrel for regular and stun mode. Let's see. Both of them have 14650 battery packs. Might have been able to squeeze a little bit more in there, but not a whole lot because there's so many wires that you try and cram that much stuff in there, it gets tough because you have to push the wires forward and not touch the speaker, and so that's about the biggest that you want in there. They last long enough anyway, unless you're going to shoot it continuously at an 11-hour troop, at which case no battery would help you, then you'll be fine. Standby mode lasts all night and partway through the next day, so it's not a problem. And that's just on mine with the screen, which will take more juice than without. Go ahead and close this. Both of them are powder coated, flat black. I believe it's the Tuscan matte, it's called, at Powder by the Pound. Both of them have wire mesh holding or covering the wires, and also providing sound venting in this slot here. Fabricated the scope rails from scratch, the counter rails. Both of them have different ways of hiding the wires that go up to the Hengstler counter. Mine over here has a cloth wire, and it's only because, or a cloth tube that holds the wires. It's only because I drilled the hole too low. I underestimated how far down the counter goes. So the wire tube there would have had to turn, coming out of the gun, it would have had to turn up too fast and then turn back again too fast for me to use the metal that I used over here. But they both look good. Let's see. The bolts don't move. These are not ever going to fire again, no matter what you try and do. If you'd have to replace every single part in it to make it be able to fire, so that's not going to be an issue. On mine, I powder coated the scope because it was kind of rough. They both have M40 scopes, but this one was actually never issued. It just sat on a shelf since it was produced, and it's really amazing to look at how pristine it is. But on mine, when I powder coated it, I removed all the lenses and everything. I actually turned the reticle so that it's straight, and then I flipped it so that the lettering is facing you. That's not the way that it's supposed to be stock, but it looks better in my opinion. I wasn't going to mess with that on this one because this one's a, you know, an unissued scope, but other than that, that's how it came out. Now on both of these, unlike the last one that I did, there was already a hole drilled, and on this one it was my fault, and on this one it wasn't, where the bayonet lug was supposed to go. So I had the challenge of trying to figure out how to make the bayonet lug fit over that hole and still look right and conform to the side of the body and everything. I was able to do it two different ways. This one had bigger holes drilled, so I was able to just make it look like it was recessed into the hole like it was on the original, and then, you know, brazed in place. I didn't braze it, but that's how it was. And on this one, I just created a thin layer of, I left a thin layer of the old receiver, you know, and I put it in place so it's just a little bit higher than that one, but it looks about the same. The stocks both work. Mine's a little off. It does work, but you know, it takes a little bit of maneuvering to get it in place, simply because when I got this, the folding stock, you know, it's like this. Well, it was totally kinked in, and I bent it out, you know, and I tried to square it off and everything, but you can never get it back to perfect once it's kinked in like that. The grips bent with a lighter. Mine I had to sand and then paint. These ones came out so good I didn't have to do that. Obviously I sanded the tips a little bit, but not like the tops, so they look perfect just the way they are. I think that's it. They weigh about 9 pounds each, maybe 10 pounds. Extremely heavy. I have held both of them at once. It's pretty cool, but it's not something that you would ever want to dual wield. And it sounds weird because they have two different speaker setups. So this one has 2 speakers and this one only has 1. So it's kind of weird when one of them's making one noise and one of them's making it in slightly different volume level. So I'll go ahead and wake mine up. Show you the rate progression, the screen. Counts your ammo. You can put whatever text you want up there. Fake radar screen also counts your ammo still. This is your official ammo counter. It tells you what kind of battery life you have left. And back to your regular. Shows you your range as well. And this one's set to the sound pitch changes based on how much ammo you have left. The wires here, the coiled wires, those were actually pretty easy to do. I got the wire from Radio Shack. It's 18 gauge solid core, and then I just curled it around a pen that was about the right size. And then obviously, you know, I had to solder it in and, you know, attach it down here on the cylinders. Cylinders are just held on magnetically. I think that's it. It's the finish is nice and strong, you know, because it's powder coated. So I wouldn't have a problem handing this off to someone and letting them play around with it for a minute or two. Alright, let's get over to this one. Mostly the same. There's a double layer of Mylar behind this on both of them. I don't know if I said that on the last one. You can't see the LEDs when they're off, but when they're on, you can see them. Rate progression again. So there's that. Select fire. Reload this way. So that's that. They came out really nice, and I actually have had another person email me about these when I'm not even done with this pair yet. So they're just going by the one that I did back in 2012. I finished it. I think that's about it. The only real difference here is that this one was already put together when I got it. It was not, you know, not Stormtrooper blaster put together, but the Sterling was already mostly assembled, minus, you know, the bayonet lug and this piece up here. So all I really had to do was modify it for the electronics, which was good because, you know, it's tiring to have to do all this work to make all the pieces fit, and it's tough. It really is. But there they are. Hoping to get this one shipped out to you, Andy, pretty soon. Probably this afternoon or Monday at the latest. I just want to make sure everything's perfect on it. Use it for, you know, an hour or two, make sure everything's good. And that's about it. So thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you guys later.